Em, can you believe we started Interview Boss in 2021?
Not really. It's insane. That's a lot of episodes and a lot of hours of talking.
Oh my gosh, it is. And if you're scrolling through all of our episodes, you might scroll straight past something that you really, really needed.
Yes, we're always getting messages from people asking us to do an episode on something, and I'm like, we already have.
So we've put together playlists to help you find the episodes that are exactly what you need, suited to your situation.
They're all categorized. If you're applying for jobs, we have episodes about resumes, cover letters, job ads. If you've been offered your dream job, we have episodes on resigning, exit interviews, and how to impress at your new company.
And we even have a very special playlist that's very popular for if you have an interview coming up immediately and you need just our most recommended hard-hitting episodes between now and then.
For all our last-minute listeners. It's all there for you. You can browse by category and check out all the playlists at interviewboss.com.au/podcast.
There are 4 steps. Research the company, research your interviewers, prep your career stories, and then prep some questions to ask at the end. They're the 4 steps.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Interview Boss. My name is Emma. I'm a radio journalist who's teamed up with my sister to give you advice, inspiration, and support when you're looking for a new job. Sarah is a HR and recruitment professional, and together we're excited to give you all the tips, tricks, and behind-the-scenes knowledge to help you in your career.
Hey Em, and welcome back everyone. Who are we giving a Shoot Your Shot shout out to this week?
To Rebekah, who bought us 5 coffees and sent in a message that made me smile ear to ear. She said, "Hi Sarah and Em, you are both absolutely amazing."
Can I just say I love that she called you Em, because I guess that's what I say. And like, obviously your name's Emma, but I love that we're familiar enough that we're on nickname terms.
We are. We're on a nickname basis. Maybe I'll call her Beck. I've listened to almost every episode over the last 6 months since a friend recommended your podcast. She's another Sarah. What a legend. And you've helped me smash every interview since. I decided to leave my role as I'd outgrown it and had been struggling to land a new job in New Zealand, continually coming runner-up for roles. I've been there, but that's a good thing. Better to be second than last. It felt like a lot of work and time doing interviews to keep coming in second place. My partner and I then came to the decision to move to Perth.
A lot of Kiwis in Perth, I reckon.
Yeah, I was just going to say, what is the saying that they're saying at the moment? West is best. Everyone is going to Perth. It's like the hot girl place to be right now. So enjoy that. Yeah, for those playing at home, Perth is on the West Australian coast of New South Wales.
The West Australian coast of New South Wales. What does that mean?
I didn't know I said that. The West Australian coast of Australia. We are on the east coast, and so it's actually quicker for us to fly overseas than it is to fly to Perth. It's a long, long way away.
And just to give context, I feel like a lot of our listeners are in the US, and if they're not, then they still understand like the geography of the US. Australia is approximately the same width as the US, like New York, LA, like imagine how far that is. That's kind of like Sydney, Perth, right? Like that gives you a bit of an idea of how far. There's a time difference and everything.
We can go on entire overseas holidays quicker than it could take us to get to Perth. So anyway, everyone on the East Coast is saying West is best and they're fleeing to Perth. So it seems fun. Anyway, so her partner and I decided to move to Perth. This made getting a new role even harder as I was applying while still in New Zealand. With all your tips and tricks, working on my short stories and believing in myself, I ended up with 2 offers last week. I accepted one, which was for my dream role with a global company, which had interviewed me in New Zealand for another role 6 months ago. They put in a good word for me, and now I have an incredible remote travel role with lots of opportunity for growth. I've increased my salary by 50%. Thank you both again so much. You kept my spirits up through the whole process with amazing banter and tips. I've told everyone I can to listen to your podcast.
Oh my God.
That's so good.
What I love is that we're just saying about, being the runner-up, it's not so bad. Like it's a good thing. Well, you never know how things might turn out. She was clearly the runner-up for something, and then that same company had another job in Perth.
They kept her on file, put in a good word.
And they're like, we really liked her last time. It didn't work out, but like, hey, yeah, we would totally recommend you hire her in Perth.
See, we're not lying to you when we say that they will keep you on file and like you. People, I swear people are like, sure, they genuinely will.
I know. And it's why like being really prepared and doing great interviews can really help you, because sure, there's getting the job, but there's all these other outcomes that you can have outside of getting the job that if you didn't focus on doing really well in your interview, that you might not get those outcomes. I don't know. I hope that makes sense. I'm kind of rambling today.
Okay. What are we talking about today?
Today, we are talking about where you should focus your time preparing for an interview, because I think we've got so many episodes, obviously, about how to prep for an interview and all the different things you need to do. But I have a feeling that our listeners out there are maybe spending time in the wrong places or just getting a bit overwhelmed on what they should do.
Overwhelm is rampant. Today, I was doing my handover for my colleague. I am a news journalist, so before I leave for the day and when my afternoon colleague gets in, I leave about like 6 to 15 stories to get them started before I leave. And I had so much to write up because all day my phone had been ringing nonstop, interview after interview, meeting after meeting, like just nonstop, that I sat there and just went so overwhelmed at all the things I have to write up. I don't even know what to do. And then I said out loud to myself, just pick one.
Oh,
just pick one thing.
That's so cute. Just pick one.
Pick one thing, Emma.
Just pick
one thing. And then I did. And then that was done in 2 seconds. And then I was on to the next one and I was in flow state. But there was a moment of like, there's so much to do.
Can we just shout out to like being your own best friend, like inside your head? It's just like so good. Like I'm constantly telling myself, well done. Good work. Good girl.
Yeah, that was hard, wasn't it? We did it.
Oh, look at that. You didn't want to do that and now it's all done. Look at all that stuff look, you did that yesterday and how nice is it to wake up to that today? Oh, incredible. Like, it's just really nice.
Gentle parenting yourself.
I know, it really is. Being your own internal hype woman.
Now, let's get into it. So, we are reminding you of our 4-step method that is the best way to prepare for a job interview. We'll link that episode below because we have gone into this.
This is like episode number 4 that we ever did, the best way to prepare for an interview.
And if anyone's out here listening to old episodes, I'm so sorry. It's so bad. Like, I kind of want to do a Taylor Swift and just re-record all of our very old stuff because I'm so embarrassed, even though we shouldn't be, because I always tell everyone else, whenever you start anything new, you have to push through the cringe phase.
We had our cringe phase.
And it's just part of it.
It wasn't that
It wasn't cringe. No, but compared to now, I look back, our voices sound high-pitched. The edit was slow. Like, it was just clunky. And now we're so much better.
We didn't edit it the same way. We didn't have our amazing editor on board. Shout out to Cyril.
Cyril, leave this in here for the people to know. This isn't blackmail, but like, seriously, please never leave us. If you leave us, I'm quitting Interview Boss. I don't want to do it anymore without you.
Our listeners would hear the difference. They'd be like, something's wrong. It doesn't sound the same way.
And that is to Cyril in Germany, who is just the best editor in the whole world. But I'm not going to give you any more information because you might try and steal him. So
MVP of Interview Boss, honestly. Like, it's not me. It's not Emma. It's actually Cyril.
Love you, Cyril.
I forget what we were talking about. Oh, listening back to old episodes. So it's like episode number 4. So if you scroll all the way back in our catalogue, you should find it. It's called The Best Way to Prepare for an Interview. The thing is, though, I still back these steps, absolutely. It's just that I didn't necessarily put them in order of importance. I just kind of put them in order of like what order to do them in, I guess. And also we were debunking the whole coming up with interview questions and then coming up with answers to them. That was kind of the main point of the whole thing. But I feel like people are focusing on the wrong spots. So I thought we would discuss, there's no rules with all of this. It's all very flexible, but let's discuss. So there are 4 steps. Research the company, research your interviewers, prep your career stories, and then prep some questions to ask at the end. They're the 4 steps. So, what do you think for each of the steps? First one, research the company. How much time should you be spending? Is it high priority, low priority?
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Yes, because hear me out. If you had to get rid of one of these steps, that can go out the window. I can't go in there not knowing what I'm going to talk about myself because that's undeniable that I have to talk about myself. I'm also going to have to ask questions at the end. And even if they don't ask, it looks good to ask them. And also, I'm potentially going to work there, so I have questions, so I want to ask them. And researching the interviewers, like, yes, that's important, but I can handle it if I just find out on the day, this is Sally from HR, this is Bob the CEO. They're going to do that. The company, they can get in the bin. I'm already going to have some knowledge of them. If I've applied, I've read the blurb on Seek. You know what I mean? I could get.
So you're throwing out two of them.
Well, I'm just saying.
Like, don't worry about the interviewers. Don't worry about the company.
I could go into an interview and come out unscathed if I did not know much more than very surface stuff about the company.
Yes, that is very true. That is very true. And it's a hot take, but it's a good one.
It is a hot take, but that's what I'm here for. I'm not saying throw it out, but if you are like crisis interviewers tomorrow, 2 minutes on that, find one cool nugget on it and throw the whole thing out.
Totally. And I like how you said 2 minutes because I think that's kind of an extreme version of what I think about this. I think you do need to research. Well, obviously, I think you need to research. We put this advice together.
You wrote this, yeah.
I know. It's my advice. Obviously, I think you need to research them. But I think it's one of those activities in the interview process that feels really productive. And it's just not productive. Like there is a diminishing return on your investment for, okay, the first 30 minutes you spend looking up the company, great. You've got some background, you know what they do. You've got some intro. You've got some stuff that you could say if they said, oh, what do you like about us? You could pick something, whatever. After that, you're wasting your time. Unless you've got extra time at the very end after you've done all the rest of your prep and you've got nothing else to do, sure, read the annual report, like go off. But there's a diminishing return.
Oh my God, who is reading the annual report? That is...
Well, I think you'd kind of have to if you're going for an executive level role, to be honest, but that's neither here nor there. There is a diminishing return for more research on the company. So if you have fallen into this trap before and you came in, you knew every single thing about the company, but nothing about yourself or your stories, not worth it. Not worth it. I'd prefer that you knew about yourself and you didn't know about the company. So yeah, you're right. If I had to, if you forced me, I would throw that one out.
Great. So yeah, I think you should spend the most time on your career stories. That makes up the bulk of the interview.
Yes.
Interview Academy might be the perfect thing you're looking for. Interview Academy is a course Sarah has been working on after delivering hundreds of interview coaching sessions and getting incredible results.
But unfortunately, I'm only one gal living in an Aussie time zone who works a day job, and all of that mean I can't help everyone one-on-one, which drove me crazy.
So for over a year, Sarah's been working on turning all of those amazing lessons into an on-demand, step-by-step interview prep course. We hold your hand through the entire thing,
and you can do it at home in your own time and get instant access right now. Check it out at interviewboss.com.au/interview-academy. The link is in the show notes. What about your researching your interviewers?
I don't care much about that. Obviously, it would be good to know a little bit how long they've been there, anything cool they've done.
It helps you prep your questions at the end, I think. But again, it should be pretty quick. Like, do you even know who they are? Great. Look them up. Look on the company website. Look on LinkedIn. Done. You might find something in common. If you don't, great. See if you can work out what each person's responsible for. Does that bring up any questions that you have about them? Like, it's a 10-minute LinkedIn stalk for each person. We're not spending hours going down a rabbit hole of everything they've ever posted or their whole career or finding out what university they went to if it's not listed. It's just not necessary. So it's a quick one. It's very helpful, particularly if you run into them in the hallway. You want to see what they look like. But move on. Let's get to the good bits. Number 3, prepping your career stories. Now, I've kind of said we probably weren't specific enough about this very general early episode. This for me includes your tell me about yourself, like your career story, but also your best bits. It's both. That's what I'm putting into number 3. That's a lot. That's like 99% of the interview prep, I would say, goes into number 3.
Yes. And then preparing the questions, we have a whole question database to ask at the end. You have your brain, things that you genuinely want to know.
Have your brain.
Just use that.
Yeah. Well, and for the career stories, what do you think about your tell me about yourself and all of your best bits? Like, how many hours are we spending? Like, what are you doing for your interview prep? If you had an interview tomorrow, what would you be prioritizing? How long are you spending? Are you doing the whole thing in an hour?
No, I'd probably spend an hour on my career story because it's already pretty good. I've already got the base of, I know it. It's me. I've lived it. But I would just refine it, listen back to it a few times, Then I'd get into the best bits because I have a podcast about job seeking. I have notes in my phone with good dot points in it.
Do you really? Have you been keeping a list of your achievements? That's incredible. Guys, Em's coming in with the interview hacks. You should, even after you get a job, Like if you're interviewing now, listen to this for 6 months later when you're already in your new job. Keep a note in your phone.
Otherwise, you just forget all the cool stuff you do. But yeah, I would spend like 4 hours on my best bits, honestly, because probably an hour is writing out and thinking of the stories, but making sure they're not rambly and making sure it has the like what happened, how type thing. Then another hour might be brainstorming what themes each one brings up and what kind of questions they can be workshopped onto. And then another hour might be spent practicing. And then another hour might be spent getting someone to ask you practice questions and then using your stories to tweak.
Yep. And you could do all of your research interviewers and prepping some questions in 20 minutes in the Uber on the way there if you really had to.
For sure.
Like that's the priority. I think it's hard because we put them 1, 2, 3, 4. They work in that order. And honestly, like I'll talk about Interview Academy in a sec and you'll see that they make sense in that order, obviously, because sometimes researching the company gives you examples.
That's if you've got a week and it's all daffodils and dandelions. If it's a pinch and you've done nothing, throw that out the window and do the important stuff first.
Focus where you need to focus. That's right. You're not going to spend ages picking out your interview outfit, for example. If it's tomorrow, you're just going to wear something boring and like pick a black blazer and a white shirt. Like it's fine. Great. We're on the same page. Some hot takes, but I agree. There's other things you can spend time on as well. And you just touched on them, Em. You can spend time practicing, making notes, getting your notebook ready. You've got outfit. Like you can look up where the interview is. There's so much other stuff you can spend time on. And obviously we're a whole podcast dedicated to the job search. So like we're going to tell you all sorts of stuff that you can practice and spend time on and do or whatever. They're all important. I just don't want you to lose sight of spend time working on your stories. That is the most important thing. If you're using any other ideas on our podcast or anywhere else and you haven't covered that off thoroughly, I think it's a waste of time.
Mic drop.
It's a disclaimer for all future episodes. So if this is overwhelming you and you're like, I still don't know what to do, I still don't know where to start, or even when you say, hey, career stories, like I've listened to the episodes, but I'm just not sure how to break it down. How do I get career stories? Like, oh, I'm just lost. Well, this is kind of why I came up with the Interview Academy. And I started doing interview coaching first, but I found that an hour is really not enough. If someone's overwhelmed and they don't know what to do in their prep, we're only just really getting started by the first hour.
Scratching the surface.
Yeah. So I always just felt like, oh, I want to come up with a plan for someone of like beginning to end. And that's kind of what the Academy is. So I think in a lot of ways it's better than speaking to me one-on-one because you get way, way, way more hours and content. So I wanted to run through the order that I recommend in the Academy. This is not a big sales pitch. You don't need the Academy if you don't need help. Like plenty of people have listened to the podcast and they can do it on their own. Like go off. This is for people who need it. But I thought it'd be helpful to show this is like the perfect version of what I recommend in the order of what to go through. Does that make sense? And that's kind of what we're talking about here of where to focus your time. So this will give you an idea of how I've thought about it. So in module 1, it's all about getting your head in the game. That's what it's kind of called. We go over your interview mindset. We break down the job ad. We do all of your research. That's all done in module 1. And it's like a pretty short, snappy module. Basics, foundations.
Getting a feel for it.
Yeah. Module 2 is your career story. There's a whole module on just your career story. Like it kind of shows you how important it is, right? Like your tell me about yourself, your intro kind of thing. It's because it's really hard. And I spend the most time in the coaching sessions I've done in the past helping people with this. So I know it needs a lot of time. There's a template structure. It's step by step by step, brainstorming, organizing, problem solving with, hey, what's going wrong with your story? Why isn't it not working? We give examples. Like there's a whole thing. It's a really big module. Then module 3 is to prepare for any question. So this is kind of your best bits module. And it's a whole module just on coming up with best bits, coming up with your stories, all that kind of stuff. We talk about brainstorming your best bits, all of the idea generation, prompting, like you'll have ideas covering the page in that section. We go through common challenges people have. This is my favorite one. This was the hardest to put together, but it's my favorite because there's an activity in there. And this is the kind of stuff that I can't do on a podcast and we can't do elsewhere, but I can do in a course. There's an activity where you do a little quiz and you have to match the story, like the best bit that you've got, to which interview questions you could potentially use it for. And it gives you instant feedback. Yes, no. Oh, you missed this one. Oh, what about this? Have you thought about it this way? Like really, really game-changing light bulb moments for people to be like, oh, I get it, how I can use my best bits. And then it also covers the other types of questions. So Module 2, Module 3, really big ones. Then the fourth one is lock down the details. It's the interview game plan, strategy for nerves. We talk about notes, reflecting on your interview. But Module 1 and Module 4 are kind of the bookends. Module 2 and Module 3 are where all the action happens. They're the priority ones.
You can't skimp over that.
Yes, and they're the biggest amount of content and they're the most important stuff. And if you only could focus on some of it, I think you could get through it, honestly, in an evening if you really smashed it. It's a couple of hours. But if you had to focus somewhere, Module 2, Module 3, for sure.
I love that. So obviously we love all of our steps and recommendations, but if push comes to shove, get rid of the fluffy 20-minute stuff. Stories, career story, essential. Do not skimp on that. Don't procrastinate and do that thing where you're doing the little company research and you're doing the other stuff because you feel like you're doing something and you're being productive. But really, that shit ain't going to help you in the interview because they're not going to say, tell us about our company for the whole interview. They're going to be putting the spotlight on you. Tell us about you.
They already know about their company and they might not even ask you about it. So it's just I've spoken to a lot of people who have booked in for a session, and this is no hate to these people. This is why we're here, to help you and educate you. But I see this all the time. They have booked in for a session and one of the pre-questions is how much prep have you done? And they're like, oh, I've done heaps of prep. I've done this. And we get in there and we're like, okay, great. Tell me what best bits you've got. What stories have you got ready? What do you want to talk about in the interview? What things are great that you want to mention? And they're like, oh, and they don't have any. But they've spent all this time prepping and I'm like, what have you been doing? Stuff that's just not helpful. And it's often, oh, I've come up with my strengths and weaknesses. Okay, that's nice, that's fine. But can you imagine I interviewed you and I only asked you what your strength was and then what your weakness was? I have no information to hire you on. You need stories of things that you've done in your day-to-day job to really make sure that you do yourself justice.
There you have it. This is your guide on where to focus your precious, precious time when you're prepping for an interview.
Yeah, making sure you're doing the important stuff first. Get that out of the way. You can always loop back around and do the rest. If you've got plenty of time, do it all in order. It works in order. There's a reason you research first because there's benefits to doing that. But I don't want you to get stuck there and be procrastinating. It's like when you've got an assignment and you're cleaning your apartment. You're like, oh, it's good. I'm cleaning. I'm not scrolling on TikTok. But it's not really what you're meant to be doing. So stop over-researching. Thanks so much for listening to Interview Boss. If you like hearing the sound of our voices, hit that follow button in Apple or Spotify, or better yet, send the show to someone who might need our help. That's how we can hit the charts and we can help even more people. And while you're checking things out with us online, you should chuck us a follow on Instagram. We're a little bit sad with our following over there and we're sometimes a bit sporadic with the posting, but we'd really appreciate your support, and you can even slide into our DMs, tell us what you thought about this episode and give us some suggestions for the future.
We've been your job search besties and helped you in some way. There's a cool way you can support the show. Shout us a virtual coffee.
We get a huge kick out of reading all of your success stories. Head to buymeacoffee.com/interviewboss and shout us a cuppa.
If you keep us caffeinated, we can keep the content coming.